I didn't come from corporate, but I watched a lot of movies. So, the examples are terrible. You watch The Devil Wears Prada, and then you watch Wolf on Wall Street. You're like, where am I in this mix?
Welcome to Female Founder Unplugged, the show where we cut through the noise and have a real, raw conversation about what it takes to build and scale a successful business as a female entrepreneur. I'm Lindsay White, people strategy expert, leadership coach, and fellow founder. And I know firsthand the challenges of scaling sustainably and staying connected to your passion along the way. This podcast is for ambitious women just like you, seasoned founders and CEOs navigating the challenges of leadership, team building, and sustainable growth. In each episode, we'll dive into those topics that are most important to you as a female founder. You'll hear honest, no BS conversations about building, growing, and leading a team and culture so that you can grow without losing yourself in the process. Because let's be real, entrepreneurship can feel isolating, and leadership doesn't come with a roadmap. If you've ever struggled with the pressure of running a business, felt overwhelmed by growing your team, or wondered, how do I scale without sacrificing my vision and my purpose, you're in the right place. Let's get unplugged. Hey, my friends, I have a super cool guest on the show today. She's actually someone that I have been following for years, like for a very long time. And I am deeply appreciative of the way she shows up and shares very vulnerable, very unplugged online. It is Miss Rachel Pedersen. And I'm super thrilled that you agreed to be a guest on the show because I'm fangirling just a little bit.
Oh my gosh, Lindsay, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Can I just real fast say, I love when people put their names in the hat for things. Yeah. And I mean, across the board, like we always assume by nature, oh, they're not going to pick me. They're never going to say yes. So basically I sent out an email and said, I'm looking for fun podcasts. And a friend of Lindsay's forwarded it to her and said, this reminds me of you. So I'm here. I'm ready to have fun. But you'd be surprised by how many people felt like I'm not going to put my name in the hat because, oh, well, maybe next time, maybe in 10 years, maybe when. And it's like, no, just put your name in the hat. Go for it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's the Wayne Gretzky. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
Absolutely.
And shout out to my friend Stacy who did that and said, you've got a cool podcast. I think you should invite Rachel. And so, sometimes you need the nudge. Right?
Sometimes you do, yeah.
You need
somebody
the nudge.
Or the shove. The shove. Go.
Go, do it.
Yeah.
So I'm super grateful. And I love, we just had a quick chat before we hit the record button. And, talking about how important leadership is in a business, how important culture is in an organization. But when I said the words people strategy, your whole face lit up and you were like, yes. That's what we need to talk about. And I'm sure watching you grow, I'm sure that the talent in your business to help you with that growth has been really important. And I love that we can talk about that.
Oh, for sure. And I know I haven't shared, like some people might be listening and being like, who are you? And I missed this part. You literally told me this is how you're supposed to open, and I totally glossed over it.
Yeah.
So I'm Rachel Pedersen. I'm a social media strategist, basically marketing and the psychology of marketing, content creation, social media is my jam.
Yes.
But the reason for that is because I am most obsessed with people. So that is great. Back to here. I'm a Minnesota mom of 3, and I've worked with really, really, really cool clients and companies and had partnerships with some of the biggest names and brands in pretty much every industry, which is so weird to say. You know what I mean? I'm like little old me still. Okay. But anyways, so I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Yes. Totally. So excited to get into the conversation. We don't even let her introduce herself. And we're going to put all the information, all the places you can follow Rachel on the show notes. If you're not, you need to be, because the way she shows up online is exactly the human being that is on this podcast with me today. And I love that. In a world where Instagram is only the highlight reel, where TikTok is only about showing the good shit, you show up and man, you open the kimono for us. And I love that.
Yeah. I open the kimono and then you realize that it's not an underwire bra. Like, you know what I mean? So that's how I operate. And I think most of it comes from studying our minds and studying people, which I'm sure we're going to talk about in many capacities, you know? And that's what makes me say, I want to show everything. I want to show when I wake up and I've got puffy eyes. If that's on a video, guess what? Someone else says, oh, I'm not the only person who wakes up with puffy eyes. All right, let's get to work.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure, just watching the way that your business has grown and over the last several years, I'm sure that your team has evolved pretty dramatically.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Tell us about that.
It's interesting. You're actually the first person to ask me in the last 3 years about team.
Oh,
which is so wild. Okay. So as you know, as many people listening probably know, it's very natural to experience almost like eras in your business. And I used to think that you were supposed to work with the same people for 20, 30 years. And I mean, like all the same people. And if you didn't, you were a failure as a leader. And what I didn't realize is that as you evolve as a leader, at least this has been my experience, you need different supports around you. So I started basically with myself and then myself and a VA and then myself, a VA and my sister and then a business partner. And I started kind of like, it was almost like panicking. You know, the cartoons where they're like in a submarine and they're trying to plug the holes and they're trying to do that. That's what I was doing with hiring. And some of the decisions made during that time were amazing. Some I had a lot of learning to do still. But I worked with the same core team for many years. The core didn't really change. Now, about 3 years ago, this was a weird and wild thing. I almost feel like this is the business owner's equivalent of a midlife crisis. I was like, I hate all of this. And I was like, basically, we're going to, phase everyone out and downsize and make everything chill and remove the pressure. And that was good for a moment, just to pause, catch your breath, like reprioritize. What do I actually want this to look like? Then we actually went back and started rehiring some of the people from our old core team, but on a new basis and understanding of, hey, we actually really do love working with you in this space. Working there. And so my team is tighter these days, which is cool. And it evolves. So we do a lot of project-based work and a lot of freelance work. So I've been loving that. It makes me feel less stuck. And one big thing, and this was a key distinction, we have a rule in our company, no meetings that can be a text or an email. So we actually don't have Monday meetings. I banished them from my company, at least for now. That may change later. But that's kind of what it looks like. And it's very chill. We hop on FaceTime. We all do what we're supposed to do. We've worked together for years and it feels really breezy. It probably will change as we add more people again, though. And then have to do some type of meeting. I just don't want to read it.
And you know what? And that's okay too. I just thank you for, I recognize there's a whole lot more to it. But thank you for sort of, showing, you're right, the different eras. And I do think I see it. I hear about it from my own network, my colleagues, my peers. I hear about it from my clients. You downsized. I mean, you and I probably both know people that were like, I hate this. And they just burnt it to the ground. Right?
Right.
That makes me want to cry.
Right.
It doesn't have to be like that, but it just feels so unwieldy and out of control that you don't quite know what to do.
I think it's super overwhelming. Across the board. Especially because we all come with so much baggage and trauma and our own wounds and insecurities. So you're like, how much of this is me versus the person I was working with? And sometimes it can be easier to get a little space. At least it is for me to get space so I can get perspective and see, here's where I went wrong, or here's where this is the point where the business went down a path where I'm like, I don't like this anymore. I don't recognize what this is becoming.
I think the key in all of that is the self-reflection. And I want to call that out. Like if your business is not running the way you want it to run, like you need to own that. Yeah, there may be people that are in the wrong jobs, doing the wrong things, they're the wrong fit, whatever, wrong clients. But you are the boss. And that is all dependent on you and your leadership. Yep. And making decisions and having tough conversations. Yes. And if you're not comfortable and confident doing that, that's your work. Belongs to you 110%. You got to get a little help. If you need help, call me. That's kind of the work that I do. But that's like, I think that that's really important to call out. You did the work.
Oh, and it was intense. We went through it. I remember just sitting down actually with my therapist and being like, can we just shortcut this and you can just tell me all the ways I'm failing, please? So I can take ownership for them. And she's like, I can, but it's going to remove some of the lessons you need to learn. And I was like, dang it. Why am I, you know, but it was really big. And there was a lot of pain involved. Sure. That was about 3 years ago. We downsized. Sure. And there was a lot of pain involved because I actually had to look at my flaws without explaining why. And I had to look at, here are my areas where I'm overcompensating or hiding, like building walls. Yeah. And I have to be comfortable with rooting that out if I want to be an incredible leader, you know?
Yeah. No, I think that's critical. Yeah. Like if you want to build, I always say, if you want to have a high performing team, you have to be a high performing leader. The two things can't exist separately. Agreed. It doesn't happen. Like it's just not possible. And part of being a great leader, to your point, it's owning your shit. It's being able to examine it. It's also being able to discern what's yours and what's not. I think that's important too.
And that's, I think that one is harder for a lot of people, especially if it's complicated from years, like working in a corporate job you didn't love or something like that, you know? So I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah. I mean, lots of us come from corporate. We've had pretty terrible examples of what being a leader is supposed to look like. Like, let's be honest, right?
Yeah. I didn't come from corporate, but I watched a lot of movies. So and the examples are terrible. You watch The Devil Wears Prada and then you watch Wolf on Wall Street. You're like, where am I in this mix? Yeah. There aren't many movies with just fantastic examples of incredible leadership in a corporation or a business. You know, those don't make good of TV. So.
It's so true. I've never thought of it that way, but you're right. Great leaders don't make for great dramatic performances, do they? And listen, I love Meryl Streep of Devil's Prada. I'm obsessed with that movie.
I love that movie.
But Miranda's horrible.
Horrible. But I do feel, and you'll have to let me know what you think about this, Lindsay. I feel like that was exemplified as like, she is a boss. And a lot of people, when that movie came out, kind of said, to be a successful woman in business, you have to be like, fierce and cutthroat, and you know what I mean? And I think a little bit of that wore off on me. Like, don't do that.
No, you know what? I think you're absolutely right. I think you can be vulnerable. You can be empathetic. You can be deeply kind. Yeah. And at the very same time, you can also be straightforward. You can be super clear. You can be very driven, and you can be super strategic. Yes. All of those things can be true all at once in the way you show up and lead in your business.
I love that.
Wow. I'm glad we're recording that. That was brilliant. Holy shit.
Yeah. Please transcribe that and turn it into a poster.
Right. Yes. Totally. Well, you inspired me on that one. Okay, so tell me, 3 years ago, you have this big transition in your business. You got to scale it down. Yep. You got to chill out, you said.
Yep.
What has been, like, what does it look like as you sort of ramp back up? What's been your people strategy in this space?
Okay, so the biggest thing that I do is, this is the number one. So we start with alignment of the most important values.
Love it.
Yeah, there has to be alignment. That doesn't mean they tell me what their values are and they mirror mine. And I don't put mine out there. So it's like private so that nobody can put forward what they think I want. But my question is, does this person operate within at least two of these values?
Yeah.
Do they bring that, encourage that, mirror that, perform that? So that was a big shift for me. I run everything in my life through the 5 core filter, or the 5 core values filter.
Beautiful.
And that helps me say, oh, that's why that didn't fit. Oh, none of those exist there. So that helps a lot. And then the second big thing that we're making sure of, I know this sounds weird, but this was one of my biggest, I'm not going to say mistakes, but the biggest entanglements for me. I've historically been big into hiring friends and family, and the majority of my team has always been friends and family, which is all fun and games until anything happens. And it's like, how do we get this ball of yarn untied? Like, where does friendship start and end, and where does business start and end?
Yeah.
I love it for those that are still on my team. We're still really close. But it can be hard. So I'm not dipping into the friend pool or family pool first. That's going to be like a last resort. Temp gigs. Yeah. And then the third thing that I'm really looking for is I want someone who is comfortable with no drama. We're not looking to overread into things. It's just, we're all going to do our best, assume the best. We're all going to forward. We're going to be honest, but there's no time or place for drama. And then the fourth thing that's really big is they don't have to match my work ethic, because that wouldn't be reasonable. But I want to see like good work ethic, like you prioritize getting work done and you feel good about it, the prescribed work. And then I love finding and attracting people who get excited by projects. Yeah. So, like, they get excited to take something on, or they say, hey, I noticed there's an opportunity for fixing this or whatever. So I'm looking for people who kind of embody all of that. That's been a big strategy, is making sure we're aligned, not trying to make people align when they never will.
You've probably noticed Rachel and I talking about leadership in a really honest way, about values, team dynamics, and owning the hard stuff even when it's not working. And if that conversation has you thinking, I want that kind of support in my business, that's exactly what we do in the LPC Accelerator. It's where I coach female founders one-on-one and inside a powerful mastermind to help you lead with clarity, build the team that actually fits, and create a culture that lasts. Our next cohort kicks off March 2nd, and there's a few spots open. If it's time to lead differently, I'd love for you to come and join us. Check out the link in the show notes below. See, and I think when you get really intentional about that, you design your organization and your structure and even the way you staff projects.
Yes.
In a way that, I mean, first and foremost, lines up with your values. I mean, honestly, that cannot be overstated.
So big.
So, so enormous. And not just like, oh, we put them on a poster and they're stuck on the wall. No, what do they mean? How do people actually do that thing every single day? Yeah. Well, then you can identify, are they going to fit or not? I mean, that's pretty straight up, actually.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll share an example. For a few years, there was this friendship I had that imploded years ago. And I was like, what went wrong? Was my picker broken? What did I do? And so my husband and I actually went through the framework. I keep pointing this way because it's on the mirror that I get like my outfits together in. So I love it every day. And we finally figured out, this person heard that you wanted fun as a placeholder. You wanted fun. They built the connection on the promise of fun, and that's not who they actually are. It's actually very intense and very confrontational and very high drama. So it was a bait and switch of a value. Now, of course, I'm using a placeholder for that, but it's so helpful to even like untangle past things where you're like, I have shame around this, or I have guilt. Why did this mess up? For those of us who are leaders that replay every single one of our mistakes 50,000 times. Yeah.
And you know what? And isn't that interesting? And let me just say this. when it comes to recruitment and hiring talent into your business, nobody bats 1,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like people are going to show up differently for an incredible variety of reasons, right? They wanted to impress. Maybe something has shifted in their life. They're going through divorce. I don't know, like all the things. And that causes people to show up differently than perhaps when we hired them in the first place. But you're right. If we're more clear about what our values are and the behaviors that demonstrate those behaviors, we can do a better job of asking the right questions in our recruitment process. So we stand a better chance.
You know, there's this thing that we did. HR professionals, please don't come for me. In the beginning of our recruiting for people, and we would ask, what are your top 3 to 5 movies, your favorite movies? And at first people were like, that is so stupid. And that is whatever. But actually, if we go back and look at the people that worked out the best and still work out, or we consider rehiring at some point, there was actually some alignment in core values demonstrated through movies.
Yeah.
So it was a really good placeholder for us to be like, oh, you know, if they like movies like Bridesmaids and Step Brothers, they will probably be okay with laughing a bit, you know?
Yeah.
But if they're like, let's watch, you know, A River Runs Through It 15 times, it's probably not going to be the best fit. It's faster paced and we don't like fishing. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? So it just, that was like a really great way for us to see, is there at least going to be some baseline for commonalities in how we kind of view the world?
You know what? Yeah. Okay, so you just totally tweaked my brain because I love the Hunger Games movies. I would
hire you in 2 seconds. You're hired, Lindsay.
Okay, but I hadn't thought. Okay, I love this because I hadn't thought about it that way. But what do I love about the movies? I love that she is a leader despite the fact that she does not see herself that way. She is humble about it. She is always working so hard, truly in service of other people, starting with her sister, right? Holy shit. I had never thought about it like that.
And then when I think about people like in content positions, I like to see unique and different and quirky movies. So some of my favorite movies are Baz Luhrmann movies and weird intellectual movies where you're like, what just happened? So if you come to me and you're like, I love Moulin Rouge or I love The Great Gatsby, I'm like, oh, you think a little differently.
Yeah.
Okay, that can jive with my quirkiness. Okay, I'm interested.
I really love that. I think that is a super neat way to think about how your values translate and how you can see if someone else gets that just on a really intuitive level.
Yes.
That is nifty. That is nifty.
It's not based on science yet, but I'm going to see if I can figure out a framework or a parallel somehow.
I love that. And if any of the HR people come for you, you just let me know.
Oh, gosh. Okay, thank you.
No.
Talk to Lindsay, not me. I can't do it.
Yeah, 100%. Tell them to call me. No, but I think this is the thing. Because when I talk to small business owners just like you about, hey, you need to have a people strategy, sometimes their eyes kind of glaze over. Yeah. But I think that the coolest part is it's really about thinking about, okay, where do I want to take my business? What are we doing here? Yep. What's my vision? What's the mission? What am I trying to change in the world?
Yeah.
Right. And then, okay, how do I find the right people to see that vision and want to change the same shit I do? And then doing that in a way that actually makes sense for you and your, like, you've completely simplified the whole process.
Well,
this is amazing.
That tiny little part of it. But that helps a lot. And then the other big strategy that I tap into a lot. So I'll share this now that we're on the other side of it. A lot of people assume that I'm like fast to fire. Like, oh, I must be Miranda Priestley, right? And
Right.
like, I just get in there and I'm like quick to fire people. I'm the opposite.
Mm.
So I once heard this quote that said, when you break up with someone and they say, but we can still be friends. That's a lot like saying, I know your dog died. I'm sorry, but you can still keep it. It's kind of, that's how I operated a lot more than I'd like to admit as a business owner. Like in the name of keeping peace, I let things go and held on to things amidst changing dynamics for years beyond when I should have. And truth be told, they weren't bad people and neither was I. It was just, we have outgrown whatever this dynamic is. And maybe let's take a break. We could possibly even revisit in the future with something new. Yeah. But we got to figure something out here.
I love that you always are just showing who you really are. And this is an important thing to admit is like, I do. And certainly I see that quite a bit. Women in leadership roles in their business that give people too many chances and hang on to relationships that really aren't serving anybody, including your business and your clients.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And it's so interesting because I had this like disproportionate level of shame as a business owner. Like if I let them go, I've let their family down. They're forever going to be like, oh, she's a loser or whatever. And I was like, well, I can just keep collecting people. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I'll just keep growing this stuff in the business to accommodate all these people that don't fit anymore. And what am I doing? You know? And so it was an interesting time. I didn't realize that when someone gets let go, like the shame and emotions they experience is equal to, if not worse than what I was experiencing.
Oh, 100%.
As a leader. And I was just, oh my gosh, what if they hate me? What if they blame me? I feel awful. Yeah. I wish that they would just listen. Come on. And so that was actually our biggest issue for many years in the business.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Again, back to you're the leader. And if you're not leading effectively, I love that you own that.
Thank you.
What I will say is I think for many of us, and I would put my hand up and include myself in this group, we confuse being kind with being nice. Does that make sense? Yes, you're nodding your head.
Yes.
We think that we have to be nice. And that's why we start to become a collector of people who actually aren't doing a great job and probably know that. Like, that's the other side of it. They know that it's not working and they feel uncomfortable, but then they feel like they're going to let us down. Yep. What's kind is to say, this really isn't serving anybody. Let's make sure that we part ways with dignity, with respect, with deep kindness, honoring the work that contributed to our business, and allow them to go and find a job where they can feel awesome.
I love that you said that.
Yeah.
I remember hearing years ago, everybody knows when they're not being utilized. Yeah. To their potential, and they do feel that.
Yes.
And we all want to feel needed and valued and like we're contributing, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. We all desire that.
I literally just said that to someone a couple hours ago. We all want to feel like we do valuable work and we're contributing. And we know when we're not doing that.
Yes.
But it does become a challenge. And so we, as the leader in our business, we have to be the one who is brave and says, this isn't working. How can we make sure that, we do this with respect and kindness, but that we leave the work and part ways?
Yeah. I think that's
amazing.
Super important, but it's hard to do.
Yes.
However, not doing it is harder long term.
Yes.
You heard it here.
Yes. Listen carefully, ladies.
Yes.
Yeah. You pay for it. You absolutely pay for it. They pay for it. I mean, that's the other shitty part is now they're paying for it because they know they're not doing great work. You're paying for it. It's so crucial.
And the worst part, so I've been, diving deeper and deeper into like how our brains actually work. It's my number one fascination, and it's been changing me as a leader, how my team reacts. But when someone is not being used to their fullest potential, in order for them to stay in that position and not feel like they're just not working or not being a valuable person or contributing, they have to invent a story subconsciously in their head of why that's okay. Oh, but she's not that good of a leader.
Right.
Oh, but there's actually, I've seen this time and time again in my own business. So if you leave people in a space where they feel completely undervalued, they have to invent a story, and that story gets stronger and stronger over time, even if it's not based on fact. We all do this.
I think that is so fascinating. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I think I have seen that. I have absolutely seen that.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I think what it does in the end is that it leaves everybody just feeling gross.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't feel good.
No.
It feels comfy. Like, when those pairs of jeans that you keep in your closet and you're like, I'm never going to fit these again. Why do I keep them here? Like to taunt myself. But you put them on and you're like, well, I can't bend. I can't do anything with these. That's how it feels. And it's not a great feeling for anybody.
That's actually a brilliant metaphor. So I want to challenge, if you're listening and you have someone in the business who is not fitting, it really isn't working. You really like them. You really appreciate them. They're a great person.
Yeah.
And you really want to support them. It's time to have that really crunchy conversation first with yourself.
Yeah.
Do the self-reflection, and then it's time to have that crunchy conversation with them and potentially enable them to move on and find the space where they are going to be contributing. They're going to do meaningful work. They're going to feel awesome about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I feel like I could talk to you for like another hour at least. This has been a remarkable conversation.
Seriously, this hasn't even felt like an interview in a good way. Like,
yay!
Just like I'm sitting down with my buddy and we're talking about, the struggles that we're facing or things that we're learning. So this has been amazing, Lindsay.
Thank you so much. Okay, where do we find you? Tell everybody where they need to go to find you.
Easiest place to find me is my website, rachelpedersen.com, all E's and a D in my last name. And there I publish free resources, multiple blog posts that, yes, I write myself every week. Then those are packed with tips, strategies, action steps, and more freebies for you.
Yeah, you give away a lot of great stuff, which I have totally used and implemented. So go and check Rachel out. She's amazing. You need to follow her. Thank you again for spending some really incredible time with us and for just really stepping into your vulnerability. I'm super grateful.
I'm so glad to be here. And I hope that somebody here is like, ooh, this resonates. That makes sense for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too. That's always what I want, is someone to listen and hear themselves and be like, okay, I'm not crazy and I'm not alone. And now I know where to go if I need some help. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thanks again, my friend. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Female Founder Unplugged. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Connect with me on Instagram at High Volt Leadership and send me your questions or let me know your biggest takeaway. Looking for more strategies on scaling your business, building a powerhouse team, or leading with confidence? Head over to highvoltageleadership.ca or follow me on LinkedIn for exclusive content, resources, and special offers just for listeners. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and remember, the real magic happens when you're unplugged.
This podcast is produced, mixed, and edited by Cardinal Studio. For more information about how to start your own podcast, please visit www.cardinalstudio.co or email Mike at mike@cardinalstudio.co. You can also find the details in the show notes.